Yeah, see, I figured that was going to be your number 3 when I started thinking about it. I was like, oh, Vic doesn't have Gremlins on his list yet.
Yeah. That's what it barely hit out Nightmare, but I just enjoy Gremlins more, so it goes above Nightmare for me.
Whenever we did the poll, I actually voted Gremlins over Nightmare, and then I thought about it, and I was like, not quite. You know what I mean?
I did just because I knew it wouldn't win, so I figured I had to boost it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And because
Nightmare kicked everybody's ass in the end. Nightmare on Elm Street
which was
1984, which shouldn't surprise anybody.
Yeah, we all knew it was going to win. We knew it was going to win.
It was the 1 seed, so it's expected.
Yeah, it was chalk. It chalked up.
Yes, sir. All right, Blake, what you got at number 3, buddy?
Oh, my number 3 is Children of the Corn, and I know that's weird, but that opening diner sequence, and then the fact that Malachi isn't even safe from He Who Walks Behind the Rose, because I didn't like him most of the movie. I wanted to kick his fucking teeth in.
Didn't he the redhead?
Yeah, and it's nothing against that actor, but he played that role so well. It just made me want to I just really hated Malachi, and I kind of am glad he got fucked up. The way in the method that he did, it was very interesting. But yeah, that whole movie, plus it's weird that that's my second Stephen King pick that has made it to this list. Because I had Firestarter, and then
you actually remember Firestarter, unlike me.
That's fine, man, not a big deal. But Children of the Corn, man, and it's got some gory moments, and it's tall corn. I lived in an area like that, for quite a while, and my wife always made that reference, and I never really got it. I was like, oh well, yeah, of course, there's lots of corn in it. No shit. And the first one I saw was Urban Harvest, which I think was the third one. And I saw it before I ever saw the first one, which is probably a mistake on my part, but they never showed the first one on Cinemax. I saw this one on, third one on Cinemax with The Bird 2, Land's End, which was far gorier than the Birds film. Not better by any stretch of the imagination, but just far gorier. So I kind of saw these two pretty close together at the same time. And I just really wanted to see the first one because, it ranks as a classic for so many people. And now I understand why. That diner sequence by itself is worth the price of admission alone.
Good stuff, man. Children of the Corn, that's the highest anybody had it is number 3, with the Blake having it number 3. So Children of the Corn, they got some respect on here. Vic gave it the finger at number 8. I gave it number 5, and then Blake has it at number 3. So, it may get a little more. It has way too many fucking sequels for a movie that didn't need that many sequels, and I think that's a lot of what brings it down in people's minds. But the first one's good, in my opinion. It's not great, but it's good. Although I could say that about Hellraiser too, and Leprechaun. Man, I tell you what, Vic, I was having a debate today between my 2 and 1, and it's really hard. It's really hard. My number 1 was set in stone since the start. And I just started thinking about it today, and I was like, is it really? It's barely still my number 1. Silent Night, Deadly Night's my number 2. That is a fucking great movie. I just have to say, Silent Night, Deadly Night is the fucking shit. Punish and the Grandpa. Christmas Eve's the scariest night of the goddamn year. You better run when you see Santa Claus. That fucking movie is one of the best slashers of the 80s, and that's the reason why it's over Nightmare on Elm Street. I love Nightmare on Elm Street, but as far as slashers go, fucking Silent Night, Deadly Night is my cup of tea, just like my Bloody Valentine.
Yeah.
So go ahead and throw it out as your number 2, Dave.
Yeah, I guess it's pretty obvious. Our top 2 are the same. Silent Night, Deadly Night is my number 2, and Punish, motherfucker.
Punish. That's such a good fucking movie. Such a good slasher. All right, moving to Truth for Blake. Let's see how he pans out here. What you got at number 2, my friend?
Well, I did want to start by saying I did have Silent Night, Deadly Night at number 5, but the reason it didn't make it at number 2, I was considering putting it at number 2, but something about poor Axel getting his head, hacksawed its throat, and then getting his neck twisted all the fucking way around just did it for me. So I put Friday the 13th, the final chapter, at number 2 because Ted White was the shit. The movie was great. And, there was so many fucking cool kills in there. Plus, the return of Tom Savini, to head up some of the special effects stuff. Corey Feldman, as Vic calls him, Feld Dog or whatever. He kicked Jason's ass. Yeah. Yeah. Did I lose you guys?
Vicky?
No, I'm here.
No. Well, Vic and me are going to go ahead and agree. Friday the 13th, Part 4, number 1. Just because it's maybe the best slasher of all time. And it's not even my favorite of the series, but it is. As far as slasher standards go, this movie's fucking.
You put it for number 1 the same reason I put it at number 2 because I felt like it was one of the best. So as far as kills and and Ted White and the makeup job and the way it picked up from part 3. Really, really quickly and immediately. They go take you back to the same area where all that carnage happened in part 3. So.
It is kind of weird though that it went from night to day or day to night between the movies. So, what did they leave just Jason chilling there for an entire day? It was weird.
Why not? Nobody else is going to give a fuck. They're all dead,
All right. So Victor, I'll let you talk about Friday the 13th Part 4 a little bit more since,
I mean, there's not a lot to say about it, man. It is the slasher. It's the fucking best installment out of the second best slasher franchise. Sorry.
First best.
That's no. It's got the best Jason. I mean, the guy fucking autographed my arm. I got a tattoo for Christ's sake.
Second best.
No, he's better than Kane. Sorry.
He's not better than Kane, but he is in a much better movie than Kane was.
Yeah, Kane had a bunch of shitty movies.
Ain't nobody going to Part 7, Jason. That's all I'm saying.
And Ted White is probably the best Jason. You can't do anything about it.
I have to tell you, Vic, when I really think about it, I think a lot of my thing is why I love Kane so much is the makeup from Part 7. Not so much him. He's good, but it's the makeup because it's so fucking good. The prosthetics and everything.
And he's a good guy, but Ted White's still better. And plus, Ted White's done fucked up 2 of my posters.
And Ted came on our show, too. And he talked to me for a good hour. He was a good dude.
Yeah. I still got his phone number on my phone. We should call him one day.
Yeah, just ask him what he's wearing.
Hey, hell yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, you wearing a hockey mask right now, or what is it? What's up?
What about those fingernails? Buddy? You wearing those fingernails?
Oh my God, we're gonna do that now. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm drunk, and it's the best. It's the best Friday 13th. Probably it might be the best slasher, as you said. I mean, it's just fucking good and everything about it.
Even a good finish too. They fucking took him out good.
I mean, it's definitely my favorite of the series. Not just the best; it is my favorite. So,
I only had a couple issues with it. There's a couple of cutaway kills that you don't see, and I'm sure that's NPAA's fault. But beyond that, there's a lot of fucking kills in that movie. So Blake, where's your foregone conclusion at number 1?
Well, you guys already know, and I just have to put it out there. It's 1984 was a really, really strange year for horror movies, but November 9th, 1984, the world got introduced to Nightmare on Elm Street. Elm Street, this seemingly idyllic place to live, where just below the surface is a rotting fucking cesspool of murder, revenge, and just an entire suburban malaise at its best. And these kids are all systematically hunted down in their sleep by this ghost, this scarred, demonic, ghostly presence, that's after them because of what their parents did. So the sins of the parents are visited on all the children. In 1984's Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger, the world was introduced to the man with the razor right hand, and it just grew by leaps and bounds. I don't think they ever thought that all these years later you'd have, $750 million over $700 million in merchandising and box office grosses and just general licensed memorabilia everywhere. I mean, I see Freddy all the time, everywhere. And Rick and Morty even. I mean, that was kind of a complete surprise when I saw that. Scary Terry obviously is supposed to be Freddy Krueger. There's no doubt about it. But it's Nightmare on Elm Street. There's nothing else like it at the time. Paramount passed on it. All these places said it wasn't going to be scary. Nobody thought Dreams was scary. Dreamscape came out in 1984, and oddly enough, the little serpent on the Dreamscape poster is very similar to the serpent that Joseph Matthew Peak painted on the poster for the first Nightmare on Elm Street. And that is the reason that Paramount passed on it, because they thought Dreamscape was terrible. And nobody thought a movie about dreams or people in dreams would, get a rise out of anybody, but I'm so glad they were wrong. So yeah, my number one, Nightmare on Elm Street. I've been fortunate to know a lot of the people from the films and get their opinion on it, and they all have the respect for it, that it deserves. Especially, people like Robert Englund and Mick Strawn and everybody else, and that worked on making these films so great. It's just a kick-ass movie. It's, that opening sequence, the building of the gloves, which inspired one of my, better-known musical scores. That whole sequence, and then the weird piercing scream, and then that music, Charles Bernstein's epic score, that Nightmare on Elm Street melody. There was nothing about this picture that could have been any better, I don't think. I think they did the right thing by choosing the ending that they chose for it, because there were 4 that were possible endings, and this one made it where it opened the door for sequels. Wes was against that initially, but Bob Shaye had his win over that, and they agreed to disagree, and they chose that ending, them going off in the car with the top of the car slamming down on top of them, which was not rehearsed. That was actually an accident. So all their expressions and movements are 100% genuine, because they didn't know what the hell was going on. And just little stories like that, just little things like that made that film great. So Nightmare on Elm Street, all the fucking way, number one for me. So was there ever any doubt, guys? No.
Is the first one your favorite?
Pretty obvious.
What's that?
The first one your favorite of the series?
Is the first one my favorite of the series? No, it's probably my second favorite, but it's my favorite for the year, because that made 1984 a very, very special year, because I guess what it comes down to is that film will always be one of my favorites. It's not the first one that I ever saw by any stretch of the imagination. I believe I saw part 2 first, and then part 4 after that, and then saw Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one. At some point after that, I saw them out of order. But each one of them I have a very special, connection with, and the first one was the first one that I watched on DVD when the set came out in 1999. I think it was the New Line Platinum Edition, Platinum Series box set. It had the Nightmare Encyclopedia in it and all that other kind of good stuff. And it's the first one I watched fully restored, and I loved it. So it has now become my favorite, because it's that one and number 4, and then number 3 are those are my 3 favorites in the series as of right now, because they all had something great to bring to the table. And plus, what a killer weapon. The glove is sort of synonymous, like, the hockey mask is for Jason, or the orbs are for the tall man, or, the chainsaw for Leatherface. That glove and that red and green striped sweater and the mangled face, those are iconic. It's just, you can't doubt it. They're just iconic things. And it's the Mount Rushmore horror for me. Jason and, Freddy and Pinhead and Leatherface. If I could have a Mount Rushmore made myself, those guys would all be on it.
Oh, poor Michael. You
Pinhead and Michael?
Oh, well, yeah, Michael would absolutely be on there. Probably, I think I like Michael better in part 2, simply because it's more gory than part 1 was.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. I like, what was his name? Dick Warlock, right?
Yep.
is the guy that played him. And he was Kurt Russell's stunt double for several films. So he actually lived in Tennessee, believe it or not. Bumfuck
including
Tennessee,
the theme.